Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be discussing about the topics of tongue as well as mastication. What are these terms? Let us try to understand in our today's lecture. Previous video, we have discussed about the teeth part. We have seen about the buccal cavity, the entire part. In today's class, let us focus on these two topics. So let us begin. The very first, as I have told you in the last class also, buccal cavity, which is also called as oral cavity and mouth cavity, is divided into two main portions. One is the teeth part, which is already completed. The next is the tongue part. So under that aspect, when we start about the tongue, as you all know, two facts you must be knowing from your childhood. The very first thing is, it is acting as one of the sense organs. Tongue is nothing but a sense organ. Second, one of the sense organ. Right? We learn in our basics in our childhood days. Similarly, another fact which you all should be knowing is that tongue happens to be the strongest muscle in our body. So these are some facts, these are some statements, scientific information or amazing facts which you should be knowing. Now, one more thing which you all should know is the tongue is called as the universal toothbrush. Now, what does this mean exactly? Now, previously you might be heard that, okay, toothbrush part, if we come into consideration, this is something we all know, like if it is written universal toothbrush, that means every individual, whether it is a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, every student, every child has that in its body. So tongue is present in everyone's body. Now why it is acting as toothbrush? Now with this said, we understand that tongue is playing a very vital role in cleaning part. So why it is called as universal toothbrush? Because it helps in the cleaning, the palate region, the teeth. See, whenever we eat food, what happens is after eating any food item, let's take desserts, the sweet food items, let's take fruits, or let's take chocolates, or let's take any food item which is very sticky. Afterwards, or even you can take the leafy vegetables. After you consume them, you can notice that these food particles get stuck in your teeth region, either in the corners or in the frontal part or in the side region. So that leftover food, in order to remove this, we are having the universal toothbrush that is called as tongue, which helps in cleaning. So this happens very first functions. Now moving on to the functions of the tongue. The very first already is given. It is helpful for cleaning purpose. Next, whenever you happen to visit a physician, that is a doctor, to a clinic or to a hospital, the very first thing a doctor does is, the doctor checks your temperature, whether you are feeling well or not, whether it is a high temperature or low temperature, whether you have fever or not, right? How is it exactly measured? Temperature part. Now they take an instrument which is called thermometer. They either put it under your tongue or they put it in the armpit region. So tongue is a place where you can check the temperature of your body as well. Got it? So this is a vital role or important function played by the tongue in our body. The next important thing is, now on the tongue region, see, there are small structures, okay? These are receptors which help us to identify whatever food we are eating, which kind of taste does it produce. If I am eating a chips packet named by Simply Salted, it will be very salty in nature, right? If I'm eating chocolate cake, it will be sweet. If I am eating bitter gourd, it will be bitter. Whereas if I am eating a raw mango, it will be sour. What are these for? Taste buds. So on the tongue, taste buds are present, because of which tongue helps us to determine the taste. Where we see the taste buds are for the very first, sweet, salty, sour and bitter. These are the 4 taste buds which are found on the different portions of our tongue. We no need to go in depth about it, as everybody knows about it. Moving on ahead, we see that tongue is responsible for cleaning part, as it is acting as a universal toothbrush. We see that it helps to check the temperature. We know that it is present in our mouth to determine the taste. Whatever food we are eating, which kind of taste is there. Apart from this, you might have observed from the video, from the time the video started till now, what am I doing? Constantly talking. So for speech purpose, that is, in order to talk, if you just remove the tongue of a person, that person will be totally dumb. He will not be able to speak. The person will become mute. Like for instance, you are watching television and you have a remote in your hand, and on that option you have mute. So you mute it, and whether the person is doing blah 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 also, you will not be able to hear it. Why? You have muted. Same way, if you are having the tongue and if you remove it or if you cut it and the person is not able to talk, so speech purpose also. So for cleaning purpose, for temperature purpose, for taste purpose, for speech purpose, not forgetting the tongue which we are having, it helps to mix the food with saliva. Whatever food materials we are consuming or having or taking in our body by ingestion method, in the holozoic mode of nutrition, the first step we see, right, ingestion. So when we take in food in our body, at that time when the chewing, grinding process starts by the help of the buccal cavity in the because of the teeth region, now that food should be mixed properly with saliva. Who allows it to do so? Yes, that you are right, that is tongue. So tongue also helps to mix the food with saliva. So you can notice these are the different functions which are carried by the tongue in order to clean the region, either in the teeth region or palate region, in the corners. So it acts as a universal toothbrush. It helps to detect or determine or check the temperature of our body. It helps to give the taste because taste buds are located on the tongue region, like sweet, salty, sour and bitter. It is mentioned, it is important for the speech purpose, that is for talking or communication. Similarly, it helps the food to mix with saliva. So mixture of food with saliva, this is possible because of the tongue region. Mastication or mastification, another concept, let us learn. In this part, we will be able to understand that whenever we are having, we are having the teeth, that is ICPM, incisors, canines, premolars, molars. Using these 4 teeth, when we take in the food by the ingestion process, we ingest the food in our body through ingestion, that is taking food in our body, okay, through the help of mouth. Food enters the mouth region, so that is ingestion. Once it does, so the food is ingested or ingestion of food happens. As it happens in the mouth region, in the mouth we are having teeth of different sizes, shapes that we have seen previously. Heterodont dentition we are having. So When the food enters the mouth region, the teeth starts chewing the food properly. Chewing, grinding process happens properly. So the properly chewing, grinding process, or you can say properly chewing of food, along with mixing it with saliva. Okay, and at the end, what do we observe is, once this process is complete, we are able to observe the soluble form, which is called as bolus. Small ball-like structures will be visible, which will be passing down. So what will happen once the chewing, grinding process happens, along with mixing with saliva, the food becomes in the bolus form, which means in the soluble form, so that it can pass easily. Small ball-like structures. This entire process which you can see, this is so called as mastication or mastification, where what happens? Food is taken in by the body through the help of ingestion. When ingestion happens, the food enters the mouth region, and when the food enters the mouth region, it is properly chewed and swallowed properly. The mixture of food with saliva happens by the teeth, and then at the end, what do we obtain? The bolus form. So the soluble form we obtain, small ball-like structures we obtain. In this entire thing, we can notice a process happening so called as mastication, which is also called as mastification. So we can take the definition as the properly chewing of the food and mixing it with saliva and making the food in the form of bolus is called as mastication, also known as mastification. Let us recap. In today's class, we have seen about tongue as well as mastication. So what is the tongue? It is a part which is present in the buccal cavity, which is also called oral cavity or mouth cavity. This tongue happens to be the sense organ. One amazing fact which we all should know is the strongest muscle in our body is the tongue, as well as the tongue is so called as universal toothbrush. Why? Because it helps in cleaning the purpose. And these are the different functions which we have seen about the tongue. As well as we have seen the process called as mastication, also known as mastification, and how the formation of bolus takes place. This is all what we have seen in today's class. Hope it is clear to you. Thank you so much.